Welcome back. This is gonna probably be a pretty quick video because this is the final grand finale of what we're doing for this lip. This lip has been curing for about a day and a half now. Also, just a little precursor here. I don't have internet, so that explains why the upload has not been this week like it usually is. I'm sorry, little storm, trees down, lines down. Anyway, so this is going to get a sanding. And then we can finally put our clear coat on it. And she will be done. I'm going to get right into it. Let's do it.
When I'm with you, I am able to keep pushing my limits. And all the drive that I have, well, I'm going the distance with you.
Alright, so first round of sanding is done. As you can see, we still have some pinholes, so these are all going to come out. But this right here, all the way along, how nice and flat and even this is the look that we are going for. So when you have little holes like this, when you're working with the carbon, it's got the little ridges that are in it. So it just depends. Hold on. Well, there you go. It's kind of a good example. You could see like within the weave. You could see within the weave how some sides of it are bigger than others. So that right there is what these little ridges are. So these need to come down a little bit more. I'm going to work on this. And then, once it's nice and even, ready for clear.
I could look at you for a day. Time was well spent, that's when I knew that I need to spend my life here with you.
Alright, so everything is sanded down and scuffed up to a nice matte finish. I went afterwards from sanding it, hitting it with a red Scotch-Brite. Right, these are the Scotch-Brites. A red 3M scuff pad. That's what I use. These are the moderately aggressive ones. These aren't like the full-on, really coarse ones that the 3M line has. So everything is sanded down to a nice finish. We are now ready for some clear, in which I will be doing tomorrow when it is nice and warm out, because it is, as you can see, getting dark, and I want this to bake in the sun. But all right, let's clear this. All right, it is finally time to clear it. Everything is leveled down. Actually, I showed that one in the last one. So right now, I'm going to start off by doing a nice light thin coat over the top, and then kind of build it up as I progress through it until I get a nice, even, flat coat. And then, depending on how that turns out, we'll probably give it, a cut and buff. All right, let's get into it.
Take your time, not in the fast lane. I understand that you've been broken too many times, but I'll be waiting to mend your wounds from all you've taken. But if we listen to each other and admit our mistakes, then I can show you who I am, because I'm not.
All right, so a coat of clear's been put on. I did two little thin coats, and they kind of just mesh right into one. So this is how it came out. Very, very nice. A nice polished look. I'm going to end up going over this now with probably like a 1500, and then work my way up and then just hit it with a nice buff and compound. But it turned out really, really good so far. So I might end up doing another coat. I might not. If it needs it, I will, but we'll see how it comes out. But for now, we're going to let this thing cure, and then we can hit it and see where it's at. All right, so that is a double coat that is now dried. It kind of dried a little matte, which is not at all what I was going for. So this could easily be able to just sand it down with, like a 2000 or a 1500 and then polish. But I really want to get it to just pop with one nice, thick, heavy coat. So I'm going to give this thing a nice, light little rub with probably like a 2000. That's what I'm going to start off on, because it's not too engraved. It doesn't need a real heavy sanding. So I'm going to give it a 2000 wet, and then I'm going to let that dry up. I'm going to prep sole it off, and then we're just going to give it a nice, really thick, heavy coat. Again, this thing was spitting, not exactly what I wanted. So let this thing dry up afterwards, and then we can give it a nice, really wet coat and let that dry up. Was unaware. I should have double checked. I'm so used to seeing the auto body guys in the store that I go to. They handed me 1K clear. Do not use 1K clear on something you want to be absolutely as glossy as possible. It's my mistake, but with that being said, really doesn't matter. The resin that I use is a UV protected resin, so it's not going to yellow out and fade instantly, which is what you want to go for when doing this. So I worked my way through the grits. As you can see, I've used a lot of sandpaper. I went and started with a 6, then I went to an 8, then I went all the way up to 12, then 25, and then 3000. So now this is a 3000 grit. That's why it still looks, relatively shiny for something that's sanded down. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to hit it with some ultra cut compound. It's a very gritty compound, so it's going to remove as many scratches as possible. Then I'm going to move to a finer grit compound, and then I'm going to move to a wax, and then we're going to see how it looks. If it still doesn't look good, which there's no reason why it shouldn't, because this is a flawless run right here, but for whatever reason I could always just sand it down and put a coat of clear on it. But there honestly still is clear on it. I didn't sand all of it off. I just went down as low as I could without really reaching the resin, so it's still protected. All right, let's get into this very interesting process. So as you saw, I was not happy with it. I sanded it back down. The cut and buff it wasn't how I wanted it to be. So what you just saw was me sanding back down. I just prepped it off and just cleaned it. So this now is what we are going to be using. Now this is what's going to give us the shine that we're going for. That's a proper clear coat. And I'm just going to get right into it because I cannot wait for this piece to be done. Let's do this. Alright, so as you saw there, that was like a good double coat, a nice heavy double coat that I laid on. And now you can really see just how brilliant the carbon looks. And that is with a proper clear coat. I still can't believe I made that mistake of not double checking. I go to these people all the time and just mistakes happen. But just a really, really nice thick coat on there. So I'm going to give that a proper 1 night to dry. I'm going to keep it out here for probably an hour in the sun to bake, and then it is done. I can give it a little cut and buff, and she is back to the client. right, so it has been a long time in the process. Super excited, really stoked to show you the final outcome. So this is how we look. This is after the clear coat, a cut and buff. It came out absolutely phenomenal. And me personally, I'm such a big fan of the split V in the middle. Everyone, I hope you enjoyed this little series that I did here. I had a lot of fun doing it. Love doing a little custom work like this, along with doing fix-up jobs, repair jobs, and just all little things. Just working with carbon. A lot of fun. Also a really great skill because, you know, who doesn't like carbon on their car? Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.